Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Beautiful day to be alive. Phil and Ryan on Listen Up. Thank you, as always, KK Arnold. Ryan, Maryland, all the way to UConn. We have another great episode today for everybody. We're going to get into the transfer portal talk. I know that was a big discussion last year when we nailed that video down on the podcast. So we appreciate Austin this morning running the sticks for us this beautiful Wednesday morning, April 24th. So, Ryan, first of all, your quick take. I'm kind of glad that we did not have a follow-up video on Haley Van Lith, because right now I'm seeing 22 hours ago, according to Sports Illustrated, there's a report coming out that LSU transfer Haley Van Lith remains in the transfer portal and not committed to TCU. So it makes it that much more harder to call Ryan up and say, hey, Ryan, let's have a podcast.
Yeah, that was definitely some surprising news the other day. Yeah, we've seen quite a lot of players moving through the portal. A couple of notable players: Virginia Tech's Georgia Amore goes to Kentucky. That was a surprising move. I didn't really expect her to go, to go from Virginia Tech, but she lands with the Wildcats. Lucy Olson for Villanova transfers to Iowa. So that's a pretty big loss for Villanova. I believe Olsen was maybe in the top five in the country for scoring. I believe somewhere around 23 points a game, if I'm correct on that. And also, like you just mentioned, Haley Van Lith enters the transfer portal yet again and lands at TCU. But yesterday she says that she did not officially commit to TCU, which is very interesting. But she said she's also interested in two other schools. So yeah, not quite decided, I guess, for Haley Van Lith. But yeah, there's still a lot of big names still in the portal. Stanford Ford, Kiki Arifin, who averaged a double-double last season. And how about the three players from Oregon State? I know you wanted to talk about Reagan Beers in this episode, but also we have Talia Van Olahoffen and Tamia Gardner as well. So, I was surprised those three players from Oregon State. I think the Beavers had a pretty good team last year, so I'm not sure why they're deciding to go separate ways there. But this one is very interesting as well. Senior guard Caitlin Chen also still in the portal, and I just saw this news last night. Chen did visit with UConn yesterday, so possibly we could see Caitlin Chen in a UConn uniform. She would definitely bring a lot of experience. Just averaged under 16 points last season for Princeton.
First of all, congratulations to Sailor Poffenbarger. Ryan, I
Yeah.
had to mention this. We're going to get her on this summer for sure. Media passes, everything, right? The whole stretch, the whole 9 yards is what they say, right? Man, look, Sailor Poffenbarger automatically bolsters. We talk about bolstering this UConn roster this morning ahead of the new season, 24-25. Talk about what Sailor Poffenbarger would do for head coach Brenda Freese in Maryland. Ryan, it's already a given. I think that they will be in March Madness. But, oh, man, when you talk about, the round of 32, Sweet 16, possibly Elite Eight, I cannot wait to see. And of course, it's exciting for you. You went to school with her, Middletown. Shout out to Middletown, Maryland. Middletown, Maryland. But not only that, her first action, I believe, because I don't think UConn put her in at all during her time at UConn as far as March Madness. So again, it's almost a given. Sailor Poffenbarger making her March Madness debut next year.
Yeah, I'm super happy Sailor's coming home. UConn obviously didn't work out, unfortunately, for her freshman year. She did good at Arkansas, though, averaging a double-double.
Yeah. That's what I don't want to cut you off, but shout out to Arkansas very quickly. Boy,
Yeah.
how the head coach there and that program, what they did to improve, and UConn as well. But Arkansas, man, oh man, shout out to them for I mean, look now, look at her now, huh?
Yeah, averaged a double-double last season and in her junior year now. Comes to Maryland, where I think they got two other transfers as well. So I think the
Yeah.
Terps are definitely going to have a rebound season this year. And of course, I wish Shaylor all the best in her return home.
All right, so many moves. Congratulating people. Let's go ahead and get down to actually what this video is about. How about that, Ryan? Shout out to CT Insider for this. UConn is bringing in 3 incoming freshmen, including recently committed Sarah Strong. We're aware of that, Ryan, the #1 recruit in the class of 2024. Strong committed to UConn last Saturday, then putting the team at the maximum scholarship limit of 15 players. However, following Amari DeBerry and Ines Betancourt's departures that we covered, Ryan, on Monday, the team now has 2 spots open if it wishes to pick up an additional player or 2 from the portal. So that was a shout out to Maggie Bononi, a great staff writer for CT Insider. Ryan, that was brought out on April the 10th, what I just read you. That was a partial clip from a news article April 10th of this year. So my question to you, who does Ryan, I mean, you already gave me one, but who does Ryan think? I'll tell you right now, I'm sure you know why. She was on Listen Up with us at one point before her college career. I'd love to see Reagan Beers in UConn. I'll just go ahead and say it right now. I would love to see Reagan Beers in UConn. I know the news circulating around it is, well, Sarah Strong could automatically make an impact, and I get that. I agree with that. She could start alongside or share time with Yana Al-Alfi down low, in the front. Ryan, do they need help? Do they need help in the backcourt? I don't know. I mean, you got KK Arnold, you got Paige Beckers, obviously. You got Ashlyn Shade. I don't know about so much the backcourt. But I'll tell you right now, of course, Aaliyah Edwards going to the Washington Mystics. I love to see Reagan Beers in UConn. What she did, Ryan, in the Pac-12 for the Oregon State Beavers and really bolstered it, right? I mean, go look at the highlights for yourself. Averaged, it looks like 23, 24 stats, averaging about 17 and a half points, 65th in the country, Ryan, and about 10 rebounds a game. So with that said, or actually in the whole season. So let me take that back. 17 points in the whole season, averaging 10 rebounds in the whole season, averaging. So I think, and they're probably going to look at me, well, why do you want another forward, Phil? I can tell you this much, Ryan, and I'm sure this is the way with every team, but as you and I have learned the hard way, tough challenges, you and I hate to see it. They can't do anything about it. You can't help injuries. When they occur, they occur. You can't have enough depth. And I think as far as in them crucial close games, 2-point, 3-point ball games, I really think another strong power forward like Reagan Beers will go a long way when you specifically when you talk about March next year.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much as, UConn needing help. I think, like you said, it's more about depth because obviously, like we've seen the past 3 years, you can't really have enough of it. So, I think if UConn picks up a guard or forward, or maybe even both, I think it would put them obviously in a better spot to have all 15 of those roster spots full, as we begin headed into this new season in 2024. But yeah, I mean, I don't think any of the players that I mentioned earlier, I can't really see them coming to UConn. But of course, with Kaylin Chen now going on a visit yesterday with UConn, I guess that is a possibility. Like I said, she had a pretty good year at Princeton, and she is a senior, so I think she would provide a lot of experience for UConn, and I think she would kind of fit in that UConn system. We also have Janiyah Barker, Jordan Obi, Deja Kelly is another really big name for players still in the portal. Really surprised Deja Kelly has not signed anywhere. She had a really good season with the North Carolina Tar Heels. But in terms of UConn getting into those players, it seems like Kaylin Chen is probably the most likely option now. But I think it's more about UConn really finding the right player that Gino thinks will bond with everybody and that fits in the system. I think that's the reason a lot of times we don't see all these big name players in the portal coming to UConn is I think Gino's really he really cares about finding the right personality and the right player to kind of match up in the UConn system.
How can UConn Huskies women's basketball bolster their roster ahead of summer workouts, right, Ryan, and ahead of the 24-25 season? You all tell us. Comment away, like, subscribe. We appreciate, we love each and every one of y'all. Ryan, yeah, so Phil and Rye right here on Listen Up, speaking again on behalf of the transfer portal, NCAA women's basketball. Ryan, I think that pretty much to get down into before we get down into comments. Again, you're right. It's and we'll be right back here, right? We will be right back here to talk about each move every step of the way. We can't wait. Or maybe some people's opinions, they're like, well, I think UConn has enough. I think they have enough. They don't need to bolster their roster anymore. But you tell us, Ryan. I don't know if you know the rules around this. Do they need to fill them 2 open spots, or can they? It's hard for me to believe, even if they're allowed to move forward into the new season without filling them 2 spots. It's hard to believe that they will do that, considering what has happened since what you and I have been following the team. So you leave 2 open roster spots wide open. I don't know. That's to me, it's a question mark on the top of my head. I don't know how you feel about that. But again, depth and but you, like you told me, UConn is not so much. I don't know if you want to say a survivor during transfer portal season, but they're just not that much into it as far as our opinions. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think UConn definitely has the roster right now to go win a championship. I think they have a very caliber roster right now to compete for one next year. But yeah, I mean, we don't really need to fill all these roster spots out. I think probably
Okay.
I think you only need 7 players, but obviously we want a couple more than that.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah.
think like I said, if Gino doesn't think that any of the players out there are going to really fit in the system. I think maybe we don't fill those roster spots, but I think it's very, very likely that we at least get one more player before these summer workouts begin. So I really hope we're back on here again talking about possibly Caitlin Chen coming to UConn. Or maybe another name that we haven't listed in this video, maybe.
All right, Ryan. We cannot wait to hear from our subs in the comment section below on this video. Let's go over to the last video and start off with this is the perfect comment, Ryan. Thanks to Robert for coming through. What is the update on the Oregon State Center in the portal? Has she decided yet? And I'm assuming he's speaking about Reagan Beers.
Yeah, she's still out there. I haven't really heard any news in terms of from the UConn side, anything else going on there. But yeah, Reagan Beer is still in the portal. Kind of surprised, but yeah, I think maybe with some of these big name players that we mentioned still in the portal, I think maybe they're trying to find the right spot as they're entering their third and fourth years. And maybe some graduate students just trying to find the right team to kind of be with the last team and having a really good senior year as some of these players are entering their final years in college.
Lindsey Matthews, the fans bring in the money. UConn basketball's games are routinely sold out. People in our state buy jackets, bumper stickers, caps, jerseys, etc. Our teams are always so grateful for our support. It's a love fest. It's healthy and wonderful. We love our players. Leave well enough alone, please. You know, it's funny she mentioned that, right? Because on our trip back in November to UConn, if you remember, in the rental car, you know, we were driving up, and we're on the road, right? And we approached the campus. And I said, before we hit the sign that's lit up that says UConn on top of the hill, I tell you, I'm like, Ryan, I think we're getting close. I started to see people in other cars with UConn hats and, you know, their jackets. And then I started to get behind cars that had UConn bumper stickers. I said, Ryan, it's like approaching Hershey Park. We're not that far now.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really great to see all of the support. I mean, it's great to see, but from both the men's and women's team. And like I said it in the last episode, we always know the UConn Nation is going to be there no matter what. So no matter what everybody else says about the men's or women's team, or the fans of UConn, we know that all of you guys are always going to be there no matter what, supporting this team. no matter the circumstances.
Jason D'Amico, and he is such a great man. I tell you, he's always talking about support. He's always there to support you and I. So if we ever have a video, no pressure, Jason, if we ever have a video, Ryan, down the stretch now from here on out, where Jason's name is not in this comment section, you and I are going to be worried to death, right? Worried to death. Jason D'Amico, the way I see it, one and done is not feasible. With the current framework of the WNBA, there is already a premium for roster spots as it is. If kids think they are going to leave early for the pros, the WNBA is going to be forced to expand in a big way. Otherwise, there are going to be a lot of disappointed players out there playing in leagues no one has heard of. Peace.
Yeah, I think that is very true. It probably is not feasible at the moment with how the WNBA is still not expanded, but I think we are getting pretty close in the upcoming years, maybe another year or two, and I think we could see some more teams, some new cities getting these teams. So possibly in the future we could see this rule, further down the line, probably not 10 years from now, maybe, but. It is an interesting debate to kind of talk about, but I don't think we'll see the rule anytime soon.
Like you said, I hope we're hitting the podcast very soon, talking about at least one more name. This is already a championship team, but can you imagine that depth, Ryan, if they bring in at least one more young lady? All right, Ryan, I'll leave it at that. And Reagan Beers, you heard my message. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.